There is a condition that seeps into my mind. Like a poison, it runs through me, infiltrating every part of my body and soul until I'm completely infected. I'm very creative and have been creating my whole life, writing books, stories, journal making. Anything and everything I've put my mind and hands to has always been a success, yet I've never been able to see it. When I worked in crafts, the items would leave my studio and I'd see the look of glee on the faces of the customer, the buyer or child, as they happily took it, commending my work and my skill. They would place it daintily into their bag. They would look so happy, euphoric even. For that moment, I'd be happy. After all, I'd made someone's day. I'd made them smile. And then, I'd go back to the creative process, and the doubts would creep in all over again. The melancholy would return like a dark cloud. I never knew imposter syndrome existed, or even had a name, until I started sending my work out to editors, advanced readers, beta readers, and having my work purchased by the general public. Even though the approval and occasional disapproval came in droves, there was always that lingering doubt. That was when I knew I suffered from something. I never knew what it was, but I knew I'd always felt like I was never good enough, and always assumed it was my intuition telling me the truth. But then, if it was truly my intuition speaking, why were complete strangers who purchased my books and my stories liking them? That was when my editor wrote the phrase in an email when trying to get me to send over a manuscript she knew I'd already finished. Imposter syndrome is loosely defined as a form of intellectual self-doubt when you don't believe your achievements are real. This feeling of never being good enough has plagued me my entire life. No matter what I'm doing, whether winning an award, receiving a heartfelt letter commending my work, or the simple act of strangers buying my work, I always felt like there was something more I could do to get it better. The finished product, no matter what it was, could always be better, whether a story or a book. I'd look at the finished product and curse under my breath, fussing over it, wondering how I could improve. What was wrong with me? It wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to improve it. Yet I always kept trying, believing I would get it better the next time, and the next, and the next. But imposter syndrome seems to have impacted anyone who has ever done anything outside their comfort zone. It was such a relief to realize it wasn't all in my head, and that people of power, people in the public eye, also suffered from this affliction. They were also thinking, who am I? Who am I? Why do I think I can accomplish this? Why am I good enough for this position? Doubting themselves every step of the way. They say misery loves company, and in this case it certainly does. I'd always thought science would have discovered a way of dealing with it. Sadly, there is no cure, no magic that can free a lot of us from this curse of self-doubt. So rather than challenging it when it appears, with its smoky veil and wickedness in its heart, rather than facing it with courage and a special bottle of some magical potion that will banish it to the underworld, there is nothing. Instead, I am left to fight it with psychological warfare. It has been advised that the first step to dealing with imposter syndrome is recognizing that you actually have it. That's half the battle won. Once the enemy has been identified, you know what it looks like and are able to recognize it whenever it comes knocking at your door, pretending to be an ally. And in that moment, when you're challenged, and realize an enemy is at your door, in that moment of fear and weakness, you must recognize your strengths and accomplishments and call them forth one by one to fight this evil villain.